Time does what words cannot. It exposes, it erodes and punishes. They thought you would always be there, waiting, ready, forgiving. They assumed that no matter how many times they ignored you, dismissed you, or took you for granted, you would always be one message away, one apology away, one half-hearted effort away from letting them back in. But what they never realized is that time is not their ally. It's their executioner. Time does not erase their mistakes. It carves them into stone. It forces them to sit with their choices, to hear the silence they created, to feel the weight of what they lost. The longer they go without you, the more it eats at them piece by piece. Before we go any deeper, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you never miss a video. What I'm about to share will change the way you see everything. And by the end of this, you will never chase anyone again. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a store where everything is free. The finest watches, the most luxurious clothes, yours with no effort. At first, it feels incredible. You take whatever you want whenever you want. But over time, something shifts. The thrill fades and you stop valuing what you never had to work for. You start tossing things aside. Then one day the store closes. No warning, no explanation. You come back and the doors are locked. Suddenly, everything you took for granted is all you can think about. That's how time works when someone loses you. At first, they don't care. They assume they can replace you. They assume you'll still be there when they decide they want you again. But then reality hits. They realize they can't just walk back into your life whenever they please. And that's when the regret sets in. People love to say time heals all wounds, but that's a lie. Time doesn't heal a loss. It makes it undeniable. It forces them to sit in the mess they made, to wake up every day knowing they let something priceless slip through their fingers. As the days stretch into weeks, as the distractions fade, as they realize no one else understands them the way you did, that's when the pain begins. At first, they might feel free. They might enjoy the attention of someone new, the excitement of change. But give it time. Eventually, the thrill fades, the masks drop, and they realize that no one else laughs at their jokes the way you did. No one else sees through their lies the way you did. No one else makes them feel at home the way you did. That's when it starts to haunt them. They thought they had all the power. They thought they could walk away and you'd come running. What they never saw coming was your silence, your absence, your complete and utter indifference. Let me tell you something. Nothing haunts a person more than knowing they once had access to you. Right now, they're pretending, acting like they don't care, like losing you was nothing. But trust me, time is working against them. The same way you once checked your phone, wondering if they missed you is the same way they'll start checking theirs, hoping to see your name. But guess what? They won't. And that silence, that absence, that void where you used to be, that will be the loudest thing in their life. I know what some of you are thinking, but what if they really don't care? What if they never regret it? Let me tell you something, people don't regret losing you when you cry. They don't regret it when you beg, when you explain, when you try to make them understand. They regret it when you go silent. They regret it when they realize they can't reach you anymore. They regret it when they see you moving on, growing, thriving without them. And by the time they finally understand what they lost, you'll be too far ahead to care. So here's what I want you to do. Step into your power, own your worth, and let time do the work for you. You don't need to chase, beg, or prove anything to anyone. You are the prize. You are the one they'll regret losing. And when they finally realize it, it'll be too late. Now, I want you to write something in the comments, not just for me, but for yourself. Write this affirmation. I am enough. I do not chase. I do not beg. I do not wait for people to see my worth. Time works in my favor, and those who took me for granted will feel its weight. I release the past. Step into my power and embrace the future that belongs to me. Write it, feel it, own it. Let's go. The tables always turn and time holds the cards. At first they feel nothing. Then one day they feel everything. They walked away like it was nothing, like you were just another moment, just another face in the crowd, just another option they could pick up or put down whenever they pleased. They left without hesitation, without fear, without even a second thought, and you felt it instantly. The emptiness, the confusion, the sting of being discarded like you never mattered. But here's what they don't know. Time isn't their friend. They think they're fine, that life goes on, but they'll never feel the weight of losing you. But time doesn't erase what's real. It only delays it. At first they might feel nothing. They might even feel free, convinced they made the right decision. But time is patient. It watches, it waits. And one day, when they least expect it, it will hit them like a storm they never saw coming. Imagine lighting a match for a few seconds. It burns bright, hot, wild, full of energy. But in an instant it's gone, reduced to smoke and cold ashes. Now picture a candle. It burns slow, steady, lasting for hours, lighting up a room long after the match has burned out. That's the difference between a distraction and a real connection. At first, the match seems more powerful. It flares up, demands attention, fills the space with heat. But it disappears just as fast. And that's exactly what happens when they chase something temporary, thinking they can replace you. At first, they don't feel your absence because they have distractions. Maybe it's a new person, a new routine, a new illusion convincing them they've moved on. But illusions fade. The thrill of the new starts to wear off. The excitement they mistook for happiness begins to feel empty. And one day, when they least expect it, they look around and realize something is missing. That's when regret creeps in. That's when they start to wonder if they made the biggest mistake of their life. Maybe they'll try to deny it. Maybe they'll push it down, telling themselves they made the right call. But late at night, when the world quiets down, when there's no one left to distract them, the thoughts come creeping in. The memories they swore they forgot start playing like a film in their mind. The way you looked at them, the way you laughed at their dumb joke, the way you knew exactly what they needed without them having to say a word. It won't make sense to them at first because they thought you were just another option. They thought they could walk away and feel nothing. But they don't know how time works. People don't fear losing something they think will always be there. They only fear it when they realize they can't get it back. See, they left thinking they could replace you, that what you gave them, your time, your love, your energy, was easy to find somewhere else. But time teaches lessons that words never can, because no one else is you. No one else understands them the way you did. No one else matches the way you listened, the way you cared, the way you were always there, even when they didn't deserve it. And slowly, painfully, they start to see it. But by the time they do, you'll be long gone. Right now, they think they have control. They assume they can come back whenever they want. If they ever start to miss you, all they have to do is send a message, and you'll be right there waiting. But here's where they get it wrong. While time is breaking them down, time is building you up. Let's be real, this isn't easy. Walking away, staying silent, and letting them sit in their own choices is one of the hardest things you'll ever do because everything in you wants to reach out, to remind them of what you had, to prove that you were worth it. But let me ask you this, did they do that for you? Did they fight for you? Or did they lose sleep over how they made you feel? No, they just walked away, expecting you to deal with it. So now it's their turn because time turns indifference into regret. And the longer they go without you, the more they feel it. At first, it's just a thought, a passing memory they brush aside. Then it's curiosity, a late-night check on your social media just to see if you're still there. Then it's frustration, confusion, realization, and before they know it, it's regret. deep, baking, inescapable regret. But here's the beauty of it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to beg. You don't have to explain. You don't have to fight for a spot in their life. Just step back and let time do what it always does. Because one day, when they realize what they lost, when they finally feel what you felt, they'll look for you and they won't find you. The clock won't stop, and neither will regret. People don't miss what they lost right away. They miss it when they realize it's never coming back. They thought they had time, thought they could disappear, explore their options, play their little games, and when they were ready, they assumed you'd still be there. Just one text away, just one apology away, just one weak effort away from getting back what they threw away. But time doesn't work like that. Time doesn't freeze. It doesn't pause while they figure themselves out. It moves forward, ruthless, unstoppable, unforgiving. And while they were off being careless, assuming they could pick you up whenever they pleased, something unexpected happened. Time turned against them. At first they feel nothing. They convince themselves they're fine, maybe even relieved, thinking they made the choice. They distract themselves, fill the silence with noise, pretend they don't care. But time doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait until they're ready. It just keeps moving. And with every passing day that you don't reach out, every moment you don't check in, the weight of their mistake grows. The silence becomes deafening. Imagine holding a balloon. You grip it tightly, confident it's yours, believing it will always be within reach. Then, without much thought, you let go. At first, it drifts up slowly, harmlessly. It seems like no big deal. But then, as seconds turn into minutes, it gets further and further away. You stretch, you jump, you try to grab it back, but it's already too far gone. That's exactly how it works when they lose you. At first, they don't feel it, they don't panic. But as time passes and they start to realize they can't reach you anymore, that's when the fear kicks in. That's when they start to question everything. And maybe they'll try to deny it. Maybe they'll tell themselves they made the right call. But deep down, something isn't sitting right. And I know what you're thinking. But what if they really don't care? What if they never regret it? Let me tell you something. Regret isn't instant. It doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in slowly, like a shadow stretching across the ground as the sun sets. It starts as a whisper, just a passing thought, a random memory they push aside. But as time goes on, as they see you moving forward without them, as they start to feel the emptiness of your absence, that whisper turns into a roar. At first, they assume they can replace you, that what you gave them, your kindness, your time, your loyalty, was easy to find somewhere else. But then reality hits. They meet new people, but no one understands them like you did. They try to distract themselves, but no one makes them feel the way you did. They scroll through old messages, realizing how much they took for granted. Suddenly, that confidence they had when they walked away turns into doubt, and it turns into regret. This is the part they weren't prepared for because they thought they had control. They assumed that if they ever started to miss you, all they had to do was send a text and you'd come running. But now they're not so sure, and the longer they wait, the harder it gets. Because time doesn't make people forget, it makes them remember. They start to wonder, are they really gone? Did I actually lose them? And that question eats at them more than anything else, because suddenly they don't know where they stand. They don't know if you still care. They don't know if you'd even respond if they reached out. Nothing is more terrifying to someone who took you for granted than realizing they might not have access to you anymore. Let's be honest, this isn't easy. Staying silent, resisting the urge to check on them, fighting the part of you that still wants closure, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Because deep down you want them to realize, you want them to regret it, you want them to wake up and see what they lost. But here's the truth. Time is already handling that for you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to explain. Just keep moving forward and let time do the talking. Because one day, when they finally realize what they lost, when they finally feel what you felt, they'll look for you and they won't find you. What's gone is wanted most, and your absence speaks louder than words. Nothing haunts a person more than a door that suddenly closes forever. They thought they had all the time in the world, that no matter how much they ignored you, pushed you aside, or treated you like an option, you'd always be there. A quick text away, a last-minute call away, a half-hearted apology away from letting them back in. They assumed your presence was permanent, that you'd always be available, always waiting, always hoping. But what they never expected, what they never saw coming, was your absence. And that, my friends, is when everything changes. At first, they don't notice. They carry on like nothing happened, too caught up in their own world, too distracted by their own selfishness. But over time, something starts to feel off. The predictable comfort of knowing you're there is gone. The little check-ins, the late-night messages, the feeling that they still matter to you, gone. And suddenly, for the first time, they realize they have no idea what's going on in your life. That's when the obsession begins. Imagine you're in a room with an open door. You glance at it every now and then, knowing you can leave whenever you want, but you don't feel the need to. The door is open, so there's no urgency, no pressure. But then, out of nowhere, the door slams shut, locked, sealed, final, and suddenly it's all you can think about. You didn't care about it when it was open, but now that you can't walk through it, now you're desperate. Now you feel trapped. That's exactly how they feel when they lose access to you, because human nature is cruel. We don't value what's easy to get, we value what we can't have. And when they can no longer reach you, when they realize the door is locked, that's when they crave you the most. At first, they might pretend otherwise. They might act like they don't care, like they never needed you in the first place. But give it time, because when you remove yourself completely, when you disappear without a trace, their mind starts working against them. They start replaying old conversations, wondering if they missed a sign that you were slipping away. They start checking their phone, waiting for your name to pop up like it used to. And when it doesn't, that's when the panic sets in, because now they don't know where they stand. They don't know if you've moved on, if you've met someone new, if you even think about them at all. And that uncertainty, that unknown, will drive them insane. They used to have power. They used to know that no matter how badly they treated you, you'd still care. But now they're not so sure. And the more they sit in that uncertainty, the more it eats away at them. They never thought about the day you'd stop caring. They never imagined a version of life where they'd be the ones waiting, the ones wondering, the ones left behind. But now, that's exactly where they find themselves. And let's be real, this isn't easy. Staying silent, holding back, letting them sit in their own regret, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Because deep down, you want to reach out. You want to remind them of what they lost. You want to make them see that you were worth it. But let me ask you this. When they ignored you, when they took you for granted, did they feel the need to explain themselves? No, they just expected you to deal with it. So now it's their turn. Because your absence is a mirror, and the longer they go without you, the clearer it becomes. They start to see their own mistakes. They start to feel the weight of their own actions. They start to realize that maybe, just maybe, they lost something real. And by the time they're ready to admit it, by the time they're ready to reach out to say all the things they should have said when they still had you, you'll be too far ahead to even care. Truth can't stay buried, and time digs it up. They didn't care while they had you, but time will force them to see what they lost. Right now they're pretending, acting like they don't care, like losing you was no big deal. They walk around with a smile, posting as if they're living their best life, making it seem like they've moved on without a second thought. But here's the thing about time. It doesn't let anyone escape the truth. They can distract themselves all they want. They can surround themselves with people, chase new experiences, drown themselves in noise. But distractions don't last forever. Eventually, the excitement fades, the silence creeps in, and when that happens, when the noise dies down, they're left with nothing but their own choices. And trust me, that's when the truth starts to hurt. At first, they convince themselves they made the right decision. They tell themselves you were too much or not enough, or that someone else will come along and make them forget. But time doesn't work that way. Time doesn't erase real connections. It magnifies them. What they once dismissed, what they once took for granted, what they thought they could live without, all of it comes rushing back. And when it does, it doesn't just tap them on the shoulder, it hits them like a freight train. Imagine buying a cheap umbrella on a sunny day. You don't think much about it. Maybe you even leave it behind somewhere. It didn't seem important at the time. But then a storm rolls in. The rain starts pouring, the wind howls, and suddenly you realize you don't have that umbrella anymore. Now it's all you can think about. Now you wish you hadn't been so careless. That's exactly how people feel when they lose someone who truly cared. When life is easy, they don't notice your worth. But when the storms hit, that's when they feel the loss. That's when they start to realize just how much they needed you. And I know what you're thinking, but what if they never feel it? What if they move on like you never existed? Let me tell you something. No one truly moves on from a good thing. They might replace you temporarily. They might distract themselves. They might convince themselves they're fine. But deep down, the truth sits there waiting. Because no matter how hard they try to ignore it, time will remind them. See, they thought they could just brush you aside, that life would be just as good without you. But over time, they start to see the difference. They start to compare the way you listened, the way you cared, the way you made them feel like they mattered. That's not something they'll find everywhere. And little by little, those memories they tried to push away start creeping back in. The late night talks, the way you understood them when no one else did. The kindness you showed even when they didn't deserve it. And that's when they realize they lost something real. But here's the kicker. By the time they fully understand what they had, it's too late. Because time doesn't just expose the truth to them. It changes you. While they were busy pretending not to care, you were healing. While they were out there wasting time, you were growing. And when they finally look back, hoping for another chance, they'll realize they're looking at someone they can never have again. And let's be honest, this isn't easy. Watching them act like they don't care, seeing them live their life as if you never mattered, it's enough to make you question everything. But that's the trick. They want you to think they're unaffected. They want you to doubt your worth, to feel like you meant nothing. But time will prove otherwise. Time will show them the truth. Because at the end of the day, people don't regret losing someone who begged them to stay. They regret losing someone who stopped waiting. And when they finally realize the weight of their own mistakes, when they finally see the truth they tried so hard to ignore, they'll look for you. But you won't be there. They feel nothing until they feel everything, and then it's too late. They thought they had time. They thought they could walk away, disappear, do whatever they wanted, and you'd still be there. They assumed that no matter how long they stayed silent, you'd still be just one text away, just one weak effort away from letting them back in. They believed they had control, that the door would always be open, that they could enjoy themselves, explore other options, and when they were done, they could slip right back into your life as if nothing ever happened. But time doesn't wait. And when they finally realize what they lost, when they finally feel the coldness of your absence, that's when they reach out. At first it's small, a simple "Hey, a week, how have you been?" Maybe even a comment on your post, just to see if you'll notice. But don't be fooled. They're not just reaching out, they're testing, checking if they still have access to you. If you still care, if they still have control. And your response, that's where all the power lies. Because the moment you reply, the moment you give them even a sliver of your energy, you erase all their regret. You confirm exactly what they were hoping for, that you're still there. And just like that, they stop feeling the loss. Imagine a vending machine. Every time you press a button, out comes exactly what you want. Your favorite snack, your favorite drink, instant satisfaction. You don't think about it, you don't appreciate it because it's always there. But one day, you press the button and nothing happens. No snack, no response, just silence. At first, you tap it a few times, maybe even shake it. But eventually, you realize it's broken, it's gone. And suddenly, that vending machine you never valued before is the only thing on your mind. That's exactly what happens when you stop giving them the attention they took for granted. They expect you to reply. They expect you to be excited. They expect to have the same power over you they always did. But when they're met with nothing, when they feel the same coldness they once gave you, that's when they truly start to suffer. And I know what's going through your mind. But what if they really miss me? What if this time is different? Let's be real. If they truly missed you, they wouldn't reach out with a lazy "hey." They wouldn't test the waters with weak, half-hearted messages. They would show up fully. They would apologize. They would make it clear that they value you. But they don't, because this isn't about missing you. This is about missing control. People don't miss you because they love you. They miss you because they lost access to you. They're not reaching out because they suddenly realized your worth. They're reaching out because they're starting to feel the emptiness. The silence is getting to them. They scroll through their phone, they check your page, they replay old conversation, and suddenly they realize you're not there anymore, and that's what terrifies them the most. And this is where most people fail. They think, maybe this is my chance. Maybe this is when they finally realize. Maybe if I just respond, we can fix things. But that's the trap. The second you respond, you relieve them of their regret. You let them know they still have access to you. And once they get that confirmation, they lose the fear of losing you. They go right back to their old ways, comfortable knowing you're still there. But when you don't respond, when you let them sit in the silence, that's when the real suffering begins. Because now they don't know where they stand. They don't know if you've moved on. They don't know if they still matter to you. And that uncertainty, that unknown, that's what eats away at them. That's when they start to panic. And let's be honest, this isn't easy. It takes strength to hold back, to not give in, to resist the urge to say, "I miss you too," because part of you still wants them to realize. Part of you wants to believe that maybe, just maybe, this time they get it. But you don't need words to make them see the truth. Your silence is already speaking louder than anything you could ever say. And one day, when they finally understand what they threw away, when they finally realize they lost something irreplaceable, they'll look for you and they won't find you. Silence cuts deeper than words, and they'll feel every second of it. You don't need to explain your absence. Let time do the talking. You think they need to hear it, that if you could just explain how much they hurt you, they'd finally understand. That if you laid it all out, told them every reason why they broke you, they'd finally regret it. But here's the truth. Words don't change people. Pain does. And the pain of your absence, the pain of knowing they don't have access to you anymore, that's something they can't ignore. You've spent so much time trying to be understood, trying to get them to see your worth. But let me ask you something. when they ignored you, when they treated you like an afterthought, when they made you question your own value? Did they stop to explain themselves? No, they just expected you to deal with it. So why do you feel the need to give them something they never gave you? Imagine watching a movie. Right when you reach the most important part, the screen goes black. No warning, no explanation, just silence. You sit there waiting, thinking maybe the scene will come back. Maybe there's more, but nothing happens. And suddenly, that missing scene is the only thing you can think about. That's exactly how silence works. When someone takes you for granted, when you argue, when you explain, when you try to prove why you mattered, you give them an easy way out. You give them closure. They get to walk away knowing exactly how you feel, knowing they still had an impact, knowing they still mattered. But when you disappear, when you walk away without a word, that's when it starts to mess with their mind. Because now they don't know if you're angry, if you're hurt, if you still care, or if you've already forgotten them. And nothing eats away at a person more than the unknown. And I know what you're thinking. But if I don't say anything, won't they think I never cared? Let me tell you something. If they didn't see your worth while you were giving them everything, they won't suddenly realize it because of your words. The only thing that makes people regret is the moment they realize they lost something they can never get back. Right now, you feel like you need closure, like you need them to understand before you can move on. But here's the hard truth. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. And the second you stop explaining, the second you stop trying to make them see, is the second you take your power back. And this won't be easy. Everything in you will want to reach out, to send one last message to make sure they know what they did. But let me ask you, did explaining ever change anything in the past? Did pouring your heart out ever make them treat you better? No, it just gave them another chance to dismiss you. So now you let silence do what words never could. You let them sit in the emptiness where you used to be. You let them wonder. You let them overthink. You let them feel the absence they never thought they'd have to face. And trust me, they will feel it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, when they least expect it, it will hit them like a wave they can't escape. And by the time they realize, you'll be too far ahead to care. Nothing stings more than watching you become unreachable. Nothing cuts deeper than watching someone thrive after you leave them. They expected you to crumble, to drown in regrets, to sit there waiting, hoping, replaying memories, questioning your worth. They thought their absence would break you, that you'd be stuck in place, waiting for the day they'd return, arms open, ready to forgive. But what they never saw coming, what truly makes them suffer, is seeing you rise, seeing you glow, seeing you become someone they can never have again. At first, they feel nothing, maybe even relief, convincing themselves they made the right choice. But time has a way of exposing the truth, because the more time passes, the more they start to see what they lost. And nothing is more painful than realizing the door they once walked through so easily is now locked forever. Imagine walking past an old dusty shop every day. You barely glance at it. It's nothing special, nothing worth stopping for. Then one day you stop paying attention, entirely convinced it holds no value. But months later you pass by again and everything has changed. The doors are sleek, the lights are bright, the place is booming with people who saw its worth before you did. Suddenly you want in. Suddenly you realize what you overlooked. But now there's a velvet rope. Now there's a price you can't afford. That's exactly what happens when you grow. At first they don't notice. They assume you're the same, still waiting, still hoping. But as time moves forward, as you become stronger, as you start glowing in a way they never expected, that's when it starts to eat at them. Because they never thought you'd be fine without them. They never thought they'd have to look at you and realize they're no longer good enough for you. And I know what you're thinking, but what if they don't care? What if they never look back? Let me tell you something. People don't regret losing you the moment they leave. They regret it the moment they realize they can't come back. See, they thought they had power. They assumed that if they ever changed their mind, you'd still be there waiting. But time has a cruel way of proving people wrong, because while they were busy playing games, wasting time, assuming you'd always be an option, you were busy becoming the best version of yourself. And now, they don't even recognize the person you've become. And let's be real, this isn't easy. Growth hurts. Change is uncomfortable. There will be days when you wonder if they'll ever regret it, if they'll ever see what they lost, if they'll ever come back. But listen closely. This isn't about them. This is about you. About becoming so focused on your own success, your own happiness, your own life, that by the time they realize what they lost, you won't even care. Because one day they will look for you. They will wonder, they will regret. But by then, you'll be too far ahead to even notice. They thought you'd wait. Now they're chasing a shadow. One day they'll look for you, and they won't find you. They thought they had time. They thought they could take you for granted, disappear for a while, explore their options, and then whenever they were ready, walk back into your life like nothing ever happened. They assumed life would pause for them, that no matter how long they waited, you'd still be standing in the same place, waiting for their return. But what they never saw coming, what they never prepared for, was the moment they'd look for you and realize you're gone. At first they won't notice. They'll carry on, keeping you in the back of their mind, like a song they think they'll always remember. They might even convince themselves they don't need you, that moving on is easy, that you were just another passing moment in their story. But time is cruel, because time doesn't just make them miss you. It makes them realize they'll never have you again. Imagine walking through a field and spotting a butterfly resting on a flower. It's right there in front of you. Easy to reach, easy to admire, but you don't pay attention to it. You assume it will always be there, that you can come back whenever you want. Then one day you return and it's gone. No trace, no way to bring it back. And suddenly that butterfly, the one you ignored, the one you thought you could always find again, becomes the only thing on your mind. That's exactly how it feels when someone realizes they lost you. They assume they have all the time in the world until they don't. And I know what you're thinking. But what if they never realize? What if they never regret it? Let me tell you something. People don't regret losing you when you beg them to come back. They don't regret it when you explain how much they hurt you. No, they regret it when they finally wake up and see that you've moved on without them. When they realize the door they once walked through so easily is locked. At first they pretend it doesn't bother them. They scroll through life like nothing changed. But then, out of nowhere, it hits them. Maybe it's a song that reminds them of you. Maybe it's a random thought at 2 a.m. Maybe they see you thriving, smiling, looking better than ever. And suddenly they feel it, that sinking feeling, that slow creeping regret whispering. You lost something you can never get back. And here's where it gets worse for them. Because regret isn't just about missing you. It's about knowing they can't undo it. They can't rewind time. They can't take back the moments they ignored you, the times they treated you like an afterthought. They can't change the fact that while they were out there wasting time, you were moving forward, growing, becoming someone they can't reach anymore. And by the time they realize, you'll be too far ahead. Too focused on your future, too busy living the life they thought you'd never find without them. And let's be honest, this isn't easy. It's hard to let go, hard to walk away, hard to stop checking to see if they regret it yet. Because deep down, you want them to see what they lost. You want them to wake up and feel the weight of their mistakes. But here's the truth. Time is already taking care of that for you. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to wait for them to figure it out. Just keep going, keep rising, keep leveling up. Because one day, when they finally see what they lost, when they finally feel what you felt, they'll reach for you and you won't be there. Now, if this message spoke to you, if you're ready to leave the past where it belongs, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Because what's coming next will make sure they never stop thinking about what they lost.